Christian woman wearing Charlie Hebdo shirt stabbed in UK. Hatun Tash, a Turkish ex-Muslim turned Christian preacher who is a regular debater at Hyde Park's famed Speaker's Corner in the United Kingdom, was recently stabbed by an, so far, unidentified assailant. A video that captured the incident has been circulating online. One video shows a man recording a usual Sunday morning at Speaker's Corner. A hooded man from inside the crowd dashed to Hatun, who was wearing a blue shirt with a Charlie Hebdo print, and attacked her. Alex Bingley, a detective superintendent of Central West Command Unit, calls the stabbing a, quote, very distressing incident. Detective Bingley acknowledged that the incident had multiple witnesses and possibly multiple videos of the assault. This is not the first time that Hatun Tash was assaulted at Speaker's Corner. In late October 2020, she was punched in the face by a man while she was debating a Muslim speaker. So I know that this is a news that you guys, a lot of people in our community have been wanting us to talk about. And so I wanted to take the opportunity to talk about what happened to Hatun. Obviously, we're an atheist-centered community, but it is also important to talk about what does happen to ex-Muslims who, become Christian. They're still theists, and raise awareness about, the violence against them, specifically against women.
Is she going to be okay?
Yeah. As I've heard, the reports are that she's not in any sort of critical condition. It's obviously very traumatic. It's very scary, especially considering that she's been assaulted at Speaker's Corner, before. And it really concerns me because I think the UK is really giving the impression to a lot of people that they don't take this as seriously as they should. I don't think that I didn't get the impression that they took the assault against her last October very seriously. She wasn't extremely harmed during that incident. You can find that incident on camera. It's very shocking. It broke her glasses. But the impetus to physically assault and terrorize critics of Islam in the public space in an area that is specifically for the free debate and exchange of ideas, it's extremely concerning that this is a continuing problem in the United Kingdom, in the heart of England.
Yeah, so this happened at Speaker's Corner, and I've been to Speaker's Corner a couple of times, and I actually debated her. I debated her, and we very much disagreed. But what I liked about her was that, when she's there to criticize Islam, right? She's always there to criticize, to show how the Quran was manipulated through history. She has evidence, and she has her charts. She has her whole process, and she's very, very strong, and she doesn't back down. And every time I went there and I saw her, you could see her dealing with this tiny little woman.
She's fierce. She will go toe to toe with any man who is trying to scream her down and intimidate her. She's like a little lioness.
Yes, this tiny little woman, and you usually see her with 5 or 6 very big Muslim men, very angry and very aggressive. And she's holding her ground, and she's holding her demonstration. And she's she doesn't seem fazed at all by the fact that she's responding to these really intimidating looking people that, and she's I have my proof, I have my stuff. And she's there to show, and her cases are often very correct when she's talking about the proof for how the Quran has been manipulated. So I actually I never published this, but I had my conversation with her, and I recorded it, and we talked about her proof for how the Quran was manipulated, and then I switched to talking about Christianity and Jesus, and she started defending Christianity and Jesus, and we had like a very strong disagreement, and she was very tough about defending Jesus and Christianity and all that, but which was interesting. But what she didn't do is like what I usually see is that I'm here like some other Christians when they're there to like fight against Islam. When you talk about Christianity, they're like, they don't want to have that conversation. They're like, I'm here to talk about Islam right now. That's not the conversation I'm willing to have, right? But she wasn't like that. She was like, when I took the conversation to Christianity, she was very ready, ready to like fight me. She was like, bring it. But anyways, like obviously I didn't agree with her points, but she didn't like back down on. She was ready to have any debate that we wanted to have, right? And she's willing to talk to anybody, or so that was admirable. And she was very. So here's what I liked also. She was very strongly against our position, and you could see how aggressively she was defending her position, but nothing that could be described as rude. You could describe it as very strong and aggressive, but not rude. Never rude in any way, right? Easy to talk to unless you're intimidated by strong women, right? But yeah,
which a lot of people are.
No, but I don't know, she's very interesting. Also more brave than I ever would be, because I have had debates on Speaker's Corner, and a couple of times things escalated with some Muslims there. And after a couple of times, I was thinking like, some people also recognized me, and it made me uncomfortable that people recognized me, because to me, I felt like, I'm comfortable being here and talking to Muslims as long as they don't know I have a history of burning the Quran or desecrating the Quran. Like if I'm recognized too often here, I don't want to be at the Speaker's Corner, right? I was like, after I think I went there like, I don't know, 5 or 6 times. I can't remember how many times I went there and debated. At some point I was like, I think that's enough. I think like I'm like really risking things if I keep coming here, right? And this woman has been more consistently focusing on being against Islam than I have, because I have gone against all religions, right? I've gone against Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism. It was my anti-Buddhism tweet that got me suspended on Twitter, which is amazing.
And a strike on YouTube.
Yes, well, yeah, amazing. Like that, both the strike on YouTube and getting suspended from Twitter was not because of Islam, it was because of Buddhism. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so I've gone against all religions. So, but the amount of anti-Islam content that I have there was enough for me to be like, okay, that was good enough experience for me at the Speaker's Corner. For my own safety, I shouldn't go there ever again. Okay, but this woman who has been so consistently against Islam, she keeps going back there, and her experience is always like, I don't know how she doesn't have nightmares, right? Because every time she goes there, her experience is a whole bunch of very strong men telling her how, in the most aggressive way, about how horrible of a person she is. And then she gets punched in the face, right? And then she goes back there. Like, I don't understand. This is like, I'm not that brave. This woman is way braver than I would ever be. So, I don't know. I hope it's really sad that the person wasn't identified. Do we know if the intention was for that person to eliminate her? Was that the intention?
I don't think we can make any explicit statements on motivations of the depth of harm that was, trying to be inflicted on her. She was ostensibly like slashed, victim of a knife attack. I think it's absolutely shameful that these men in a country such as England are doing this towards a woman who just has a strong opinion that they disagree with. It's pathetic. The reactions of other Muslim speakers or figures who also frequent Speaker's Corner have been also shameful. Ali Dawa basically is attempting to spread, he's explicitly spreading misinformation about the identity or religious background of the assailant, who is currently unidentified, but you know, I feel like it's, you know, it's more likely than not that it was someone with an Islamic background who, you know, did this attack, because I can't really conceive of motivations of other people who would do something like this. I don't know that for a fact, but I think it's...
We're talking we're using Occam's razor. I'm doing probability.
Exactly. Yeah. And the same thing happened when she was assaulted in October, where there were lots of claims going around that the man who assaulted her was a Christian. They were trying to spread information about that, trying to muddy the waters against that, basically just not hold their own community accountable in any shape, way, or form towards the action, because it is indefensible. In freaking like modern civilization and in our societies, it's completely unacceptable. I mean, people might have their own emotional reactions to that, but you know, even within themselves, they know that it looks horrible and they can't justify it and they can't defend it, so they just spread, you know, speculations and lies about what could really be going on here. It's so disgusting. I think I really appreciate Apostate Prophet for using his platform to explicitly fight back against the false claims or just the muddying of the waters that people like Ali Dawa are doing. So if you guys want more information about that, I would check out Apostate Prophet's channel, where he put out 2 videos about this most recent incident, one of them explicitly countering Ali Dawa's ridiculous claims, or just his behavior. I just don't even have words. But yeah, I wanted to
No,
sorry.
Finish. No, finish.
I think it's really important to highlight her, because I think being a woman who is an ex-Muslim, women in general are seen as softer targets. Being someone who's Turkish, I think all the Turkish ex-Muslims in my life that I know are some of the people who are more fiercely committed to free expression than, you know, many other people I know, because of their own personal experiences and what they're denied, you know, back in their home nation. And I think, you know, I don't know how she's doing. I don't know how she's reacting to this emotionally or psychologically. But I think I don't know. I'm just sending her a lot of love. It's scary. It's so scary to be just individual in general, but specifically a woman, because you're at such a physical disadvantage to have this amount of animus towards you. And clearly she does have threats to her life explicitly. And it didn't stop her before. I'm not going to act like, oh, this shouldn't stop her now, because that's a ridiculous way to think about someone whose physical safety is in danger, you know? But she's extremely fierce. And I hope that the authorities are starting to really take these attacks more seriously, because the UK has they have a bad history of basically victim blaming critics of Islam for the violence that is inflicted upon them. It's well documented, just passivity towards this, when, as you know, a so-called, you know, enlightened society, it should be on the forefront of their concerns to protect the rights of their citizens from incidents like this. and not even just reactively protect it, proactively prevent things like this from happening.
By the way, the thing you mentioned about women being attacked like this and being helpless, I actually sometimes think about how scary I would feel if I was a woman, because the idea that half the population, like, I don't know if I would leave my house, because like I was just thinking about the idea of like half the population just being able to force their will on me just by just using mere physical strength, and you not being able to counter that. Just like that's just scary to me. Like sometimes I'm like, it's just like I wouldn't be able to, I don't know. Yeah, so that's one thing. But
it is when you, I mean, honestly, as a woman, you can't really think about it too much, because when you start to think about how the fact that your safety is really just, a function of just the goodwill of the men around you, it becomes quite terrifying. Like you're depending on them to act right.
Yeah, I'm already terrified just thinking about it. Like,
Susie, don't leave your house.
No, okay. Here's the thing. Something I just wanted to address, because I saw some people maybe in the live chat were like leaning towards this, and I just want to make sure that this is not used for that purpose. When people are referring to actions like this, and then they talk like, oh, Muslims this, Muslims that, you're not really helping, okay? Because now you're using the actions, like, we here are very extremely anti-Islam, okay? But we criticize Islam. But when certain Muslims do certain things, we refer to those specific Muslims, right? We don't go around and then use the word Muslim generally as if this action represents the entire Muslim community, okay? So when you see something like this happening, and then you go and say like, well, Muslims do this, Muslims do that. No, this was these specific people. This was that specific person right here. Don't generalize this to all Muslims. You are not helping at all when you all of a sudden use the word Muslims to represent an entire group of people. You're being a collectivist. You are doing guilt by association, and you're not treating people like individuals and holding them responsible for their own actions, rather than being in a group that other members of them committed something.
What do you think about people, like I've noticed in it seems like this is a more frequent thing, but I've noticed that apostate prophet, and I think it's more frequent, has a tendency lately to and I'm mischaracterizing things, but basically state or promote the idea that it is the responsibility and onus of just regular Muslims to actively call out and condemn stuff like this.
I don't think so. I don't think that, just because you happen to be in a group that other members, as you're not guilty of the crime, so why are you being held responsible for apologizing for it, right? Just because you happen to be in the same demographic of the people who did the crime. I don't think it makes absolute sense. I don't think like if an atheist, for example, goes and commits a crime, even if it's because of their atheism, and they like made it very clear that my atheist beliefs has give me the conclusion that this crime is okay, and they go and do a crime, I'm not going to be like, as an atheist, I condemn this and I apologize for it. Like, no, that guy had nothing to do with me. Like, so if I don't expect that for atheists, I shouldn't expect that for Muslims or Christians as well. I don't think like Muslims have a responsibility to come out. If they want to condemn it, that's great. That they're helping. If they do condemn it, they come out and condemn it. But if they don't, it wasn't their responsibility to condemn it. But go on.
What about the idea that by just ordinary people who are in no way involved, highlighting stuff like this as a criticism of their own community creates a culture collectively that this is unacceptable, and that you will be, shunned and ostracized for behavior like this? Will create a culture where it is less likely for stuff like this to happen.
Say that again. Explain it again.
Well, the idea that, the group that you belong to, creating a culture where even if they are, the only association they have with an event like this is the fact that they happen to share, a group identity, but where they start creating a group culture where they criticize the group, call out stuff like this, condemn it, and so that eventually over time within the larger group identity there is a sense that this is unacceptable.
Yeah, so that's a good thing, and that's why you could recommend it to people, but it's not, you can't be like, it can't be a demand. You could encourage something positive. You could be like, it would be helpful if you guys consider this, right? But if you turn it into demand, then some people might be like, well, I'm not doing this out of protest because you're making it seem like it's a must, because like as if I'm guilty just by mere association, right? In that case, you might like, well, I'm not going to, because if I do so, I'm encouraging the idea that I'm guilty by association, and therefore that's why I need to apologize for, right? So, but if it was just we want to recommend to you guys, maybe this would be helpful, then yeah, sure, that would be great. By the way, there's an idiot in the live chat that I want to highlight. This is the idiot for today. Avi saying 5 minutes back you were associating a crime with Hinduism. What a hypocrite. Avi, you are the idiot of today, because
there's a difference between Hindus and Hinduism.
Yes, you just said Hinduism. Yes, Hinduism, not Hindus. I didn't generalize an entire group of people. You are so dumb, because I have made that so clear. Even right now, I just said we outright criticize Islam and we condemn Islam as a religion, but we don't hold all Muslims responsible for the crimes of certain Muslims. You are incapable of understanding very simple concepts. So go rethink your life and the way your mind operates, because it doesn't. Okay, it's dysfunctional. So just like, I would be embarrassed if I were you. I'm so glad that I'm not you, because that's embarrassing.
No, I mean, there are a lot of people who actually want there to be no distinction between the two. They want the religious identity to be the same as the individual.
Yeah, they want that because their religions are so ridiculous and moronic that the only way to defend them for a lot of people is to reduce, blur the lines between religion and identity, so that an attack on religion would be an attack on your identity, and you just then defending the religion will become a matter of honor. That's so
and
that's how people that's how
attack.
people that's a very clever strategy for people to defend indefensible ideas like religion. All right. Ghost Bunny is funny.
Yeah, Ghost Bunny saying day 0 of Armin not calling someone out for idiocracy. Idiocy.
Idiocy.
Well, we stream on YouTube, so I don't know what you guys are expecting. Hey guys, if you're a fan of Blasphemy and Sexy Callie, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe, link in the description below.